What is going on, everyone? It's your guy, Cole Jackson, back here on Road Graders, coming to you today with another episode, taking a look at Wednesday's Christmas Day beatdown of the Houston Texans. And we are going to be diving into the play of Keaton Mitchell, a guy that we haven't gotten to see much of. It's been a slow burn to get back from the injury that he faced, but we are finally getting some snaps to study. Looking forward to diving into it. If you're excited, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new here, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought of number 34. Now, this comes as a good sign, in my opinion, because Justice Hill should be back, probably will be back for the Cleveland game. But getting a guy like Keaton Mitchell with his explosive skill set that we saw last year when he was able to add, 396 yards on an 8.4 yards per attempt. That included 15 missed tackles forced on just 47 carries, and 2 touchdowns that he splashed, 2 long touchdowns. He also added, 93 receiving yards. So a guy that can really add explosive playmaking is big in the playoffs, especially a guy that teams don't have a lot of tape on. The big thing is obviously coming off that injury is getting him comfortable taking contact. And that's my biggest takeaway. He's been in the returner role. He hadn't had any rushes or targets going into this game. We've only seen him on the kick return. We've seen him inactive. And from my opinion, I think he just looks tentative taking contact in those previous games in the returner role. That's a lot to kind of come back into. The new kickoff role, obviously with his speed and playmaking, makes a lot of sense. They'd want him in that role. But if he's struggling to take contact coming off that injury, kind of a tough situation. So he came into this game, he added 20 yards on 11 attempts, which is only 1.8 yards per attempt. Doesn't sound good. I get it. Obviously, we're going to look at it. One of those is the -6 draw play. So, we'll have to take a look at some of his plays, see what happened. Before we dive into it, you can get in on the action this weekend. Thank you to BetUS for sponsoring. You can go over to BetUS. You can get in on these lines for Saturday with the schedule right now. Lots of football going on, different days of the week. Over at BetUS, you can use promo code YouTube150, get 150% sign-up bonus. You'll get 125% on your next 2 deposits. Go over to BetUS, check them out, and let's get into the film here of Keaton Mitchell. So we're going to start on the screenplay, which I thought was a good play to take a look at because it kind of came against starters versus a lot of these other carries. -3, 2 or 3, came at kind of garbage time when we were just trying to run out the clock. So, this is the type of thing that I think we can expect. So you can see Keaton slipping out there, getting out in a screen. You're going to see McCary block nobody, unfortunately. Happens way too often. But, we're going to see nice little leak here. Rosengarten's going to absorb enough just to get that ball out. Linderbaum makes a big tackle, and there's that little quickness we get from Keaton Mitchell just on the step inside. Out in space, boom. And this is really what we want to see with Keaton Mitchell. We want him to have the ball in his hands with a lot of green in front of him to use his speed. Now, not a great example to see him at full strength because what he's going to do in this situation is run behind his blockers. And that's just context that we need to understand. He's not going to be able to run full speed. You're not going to overrun your blockers because then you're just running into tacklers. So he's going to slow down, pedal down. Andrews is going to come in. He's trying to angle into McCary making this block. Falele doesn't block anyone either. We got to get some better guards in here next year. But he basically ends up outrunning there because nothing's getting set up. So Andrews is going to kind of come in. McCary's going to go for the top guy, miss him. So not a whole lot there in terms of making a misforced tackle. But, good to see him get out in space, use that. And right here, no issues running through contact. Looks comfortable, looks confident. That's the most important thing. Then we get into some of his rushes, and we are going to start here with a counter read that goes for 7. So you're going to see the little counter step, right step, boom. And you can see right there, Lamar is the read man on the backside defender, which freezes him, creates a little bit of space for Keaton Mitchell, who's going to take this up behind his blockers. And there's a nice cut. Would have liked to have seen a bit of a better read here. So we're going to see, as these blocks get set up, I'd like to see him, cut inwards rather than outside. So as the block I'd like to see him read better is right there. As Stanley's going to leverage here, I'd like to see him hug the inside a little bit more rather than looking to bounce this. Could have had a nice little seam to work up towards Bateman a little bit further. Being pretty nitpicky on that one, though. Good gain for 7. Again, doesn't look tentative. Doesn't look, he's explosive. Boom. Easy there, slipping through tackles. Then we get into the draw play. So he obviously just gained 7. Now he's going to lose 6. So he goes from a gain of 7 to 2 carries for 1 yard. And nothing he can do on this. This is just a draw play. You're going to get an edge defender, or a second level defender stepping up a DB who's going to blitz off the left side of your screen, the right side of the Ravens O line. Will Anderson knows that's coming. He's just going to charge inside on Rosengarten. So right here, see right there, he's going to come up, take that outside C gap, and blows it right up into the draw. So, I mean, this is it's not a good rep from Rosengarten. Obviously, he's going to get his anchor ran through, but this was a designed play for Will Anderson to just run through that inside hand right here. See, he's not even reading anything at that point, and he runs right into Keaton Mitchell. Nothing he can do on that. Loses 6 yards. Huge blow to his average. But that's going to be the important context that we look at here, because some of these plays just not blocked up. Not a whole lot of negative takeaways for me on Keaton Mitchell's play. I think with better blocking in a better game script, because now we're down trying to kill his clock. Run situations, they're going to stack the box, they're going to be playing the run, that sort of thing. That's not easy ground to run on. It's not easy for your O-line, it's not easy for your running back. So here we're going to get just a lead play up the middle, and you see right there, a little hesitant, trying to pick around, trying to see what's going to open. I like the patience here. So as he gets the ball, he's trying to get something set up, because I think he sees Falele losing on his inside hand here. As he gets his face crossed, he's not able to overtake that double team from Linderbaum. He can't really go left because of McCary. Could have cut this right, which he eventually tries to do, but I think what he was waiting for was for the defender to cross Falele's face and then hopefully slip right here off of Falele's ass, and Rosengarten loses to his inside. So tough block there. Just nobody, getting the movement that we'd like to see. Now we set up here. They're heavy to the weak side of the field, so they're on the right hash mark here. And you can see if you split this line in half, if you go from Linderbaum over 3 defenders to the left, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right, the Ravens obviously are in heavy there. Josh Jones in at the tight end spot. You got Likely, you got Ricard, so they're lined up in heavy to the right. Houston matches that, and they're going to go back with the weak side outside counter. So they're trying to take advantage of those numbers. So we're going to see here, hand off to the left, and just no blocks being made there. Houston reacts really well to it. Linderbaum, in my opinion, gives way too much help on Falele's overtake here. Because this is outside zone, I would have liked to have seen Linderbaum get out in the second level better. And I think where we really want to go with this is between McCary and Stanley. But I think Stanley's guy turning him inwards rather than being kicked out forces that cut up, and there's just other defenders. So again, nothing really there that made me worried about something. It wasn't a bad decision by Mitchell. I think they tried to take advantage of that weak side, and Stanley just didn't win his block or get enough movement to be able to exploit that wide side of the field. Because again, if you go back to pre-snap look, you have the wide side of the field, you have numbers, you got 3v3. If you can pass off that one tech, and then you got Keaton Mitchell and his speed getting outside. So really that Stanley block was the most key here, and we really need a kick out here. And you see right there, he just gets turned inwards. And again, Linderbaum not winning there because I think he gave too much help to his inside rather than climbing up into the second level. So a lot going on there. We get moving on here. We're going to see Mitchell in that crunch look again. So Josh Johnson in. We're definitely killing the clock at this point. There's that crunch look. And this was actually probably one of my favorite runs of one of my favorite plays. This is that slipperiness of his. So it's going to get set up well. There's that hole right there. We need Tylan Wallace on the insert to take this inside shoulder of the linebacker. Instead, he pops him into the gap, because that's where we want to go with this, right? Linderbaum, Stanley are climbing. You can see Linderbaum turned left for the inside leverage. We want Tylan Wallace to attack this inside shoulder of that linebacker. Instead, he's going to pop him right into where Mitchell was going to run. So the block doesn't set up very well, and now he's got 2 guys filling both sides of Tylan Wallace, and instead he's going to slip through really nicely right there. And so he takes this. This isn't going to count as yards after contact, but he does slip that through for almost an extra 5 yards. So right here, that's the key to me. Let me pause it right before. So he gets up, he sees, oh shit, I got two guys. I got almost no blocker here. I got half a blocker, and he's going to slip this. So tackle could be made right there. Slips it up about an extra 5 yards. Beautiful, beautiful play. That is the beauty of Keaton Mitchell. That's his skill set. That's what he can do so well. Even for an undersized guy that plays more of an elusive game, when he's running in the inside concepts, very slippery through the gap. Really, what we want to see is kind of that tough running. So that way, we're not always having to use him outside the tackle. We're not always trying to move him in certain looks. Now they're going to use power right here. So again, down blocks from the right side of your line. And look how heavy this box is. They got a 4-man line and a 5-man second level. Again, we're in heavy. You can see Josh Jones in there at the tight end spot. Likely's in there, and Ricard. So we line up in heavy. They match it, but that you're not going to get much more stacked than a 9-man box. So it's going to be some tough running here. So as we're going to approach, and again, there's kind of that slipperiness. If we were able to get just a little bit more push there, I believe that's Linderbaum losing. It is. He tries to exploit the cutback. So this design play is to go right off McCary's pull, right? So they're just going to go behind those cutback or behind those down blocks to the right. It's stacked up with about, you can see the DB peeking there. McCary's about to make contact with the linebacker. The DB with blue shoes is going to step into that gap. Mitchell's seeing all of that stack up, and he's seeing on the left side, he's got a little bit of room. So he's going to try and cut that. And unfortunately, he just isn't able to get there. But I like that read. I like that patience. I like that cutback. Really good, smart running from Keaton Mitchell. What we've kind of come to see. Toss right here. And it just blocks don't set up for him. Just unfortunate. Again, one of those other concepts where I just felt like he didn't get the blocks to be able to make it work. But with some of the toss plays we've seen from Derrick Henry, again, that's a great role for his speed, getting him out in space. And then we just get inside zone right here for his last carry. And, this is where I feel like last year with a little bit of extra juice, you see Cleveland's going to run off his block there. We unfortunately weren't able to work a double team to get Linderbaum into the second level because you're going to get the inside slant from the 2-eye tech over top of Ben Cleveland. So he's going to come down on Linderbaum. Linderbaum has to pass him off. That means Linderbaum can't climb into the mic right here at the top of the Houston logo. And so as he, is able to make that, I thought Ben Cleveland made a really solid block there. But he's just not able to get anybody on him. And that's where, if it's just a little bit of a hand on him, and that's where Mitchell can use his speed. You can see how much green is there when he gets into that DB with his ability to use some of that speed in the open field. So that's what I saw from Keaton Mitchell. My biggest takeaways and what I want you guys to take away from this video is doesn't look hesitant going into contact. Doesn't look scared. We'll call it scared. It's not necessarily scared of the other defenders. What he's scared of is getting hurt. And I feel like you can see that in some of his kick returns where he's kind of slowing up. He's bracing for contact. He looks like his normal explosive self. I think that's the most positive thing. We see that slipperiness. We see what he can do when he can get out in space. So, I'm really encouraged by what I saw. Love to see some more inclusions, especially screen plays with how well this O-line is blocked up on screens. Could be a great way of exploiting his speed out in space, out in open field. So that's what I have for you guys. If you guys enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new here. And thank you to BetUS for sponsoring this video.